Some of them were feminists, but very few, actually. In the sphere of nursing, they were a minority. So some of them, there was a woman called Mabel Sinclair Stobart who led a unit of nurses across to France. But Mabel Sinclair Stobart was a feminist, and she wanted to prove two things. One was that women could do just as important work as men in time of war, because the argument for keeping women out of Parliament and not giving women the vote was that women never defended the empire. So these feminist nurses were out to prove that actually women did defend the empire. They were very important, and they worked very close to the front lines, and they had the right, therefore, to vote and choose their government. And the other thing she was trying to demonstrate was that, through her writings more, was that warfare was a male business, it was a man's business, and if women were in government, there would be fewer wars. War was less likely to happen. And that was her argument. And that war was really, it was something quite primitive, and it shouldn't even happen in the first place. So her work was humanitarian, but she didn't see it as part of the war effort. The feminist nurses tended to see it like that, but they were a minority. And most of the VAD nurses, and most of the trained nurses as well, I think they were very patriotic. They accepted a patriarchal society. They accepted their place in a patriarchal society and in a hierarchical society. VADs wouldn't have done this work if it hadn't been a war. They wouldn't have rushed forward to volunteer as nurses in civilian life or in civilian service. So for them it was about just responding to this emergency and just being patriotic, and actually for a lot of them it was about humanitarianism as well, because as they started to see wounded coming home to Britain from France, they saw what a desperate state these men were in. Newspaper reporters were sending back reports as well about how desperate it all was close to the front. So I think it was about patriotism more than about feminism for most of the VADs.